Well, good evening, Roundtable.
Good evening.
Okay, we'll try that again. Good evening, Wabash Valley District Roundtable.
Good evening.
All right, is everybody in the spot they want to end up being at? Okay. All right, we've got a PowerPoint that we're going to go over. We're going to be talking about a couple things, including new merit badge changes, new youth protection changes, new changes in Scouts BSA advancement, and we'll finish up with if anybody has anything else they'd like to discuss about the adventure fee. We'll open it up for that. Yep, that's everything we're talking about. So, all these merit badges have changes in 2023. You see there's quite a few of them, quite a few Eagle requireds, but there's good news. Most of the changes are just simple word changes. I've got a few examples on the next few slides. I didn't put all the changes in here, or we'd be here for multiple hours, because there's like 40 merit badges up there that have changes. So, Chris, if you'll go to the next slide. So swimming, the old requirement was float in place in the resting position for at least 1 minute. So it changed to 3 minutes with minimal movement. In E-Prep, it's only without putting yourself in danger. That was the only change for that merit badge. So if you're teaching these merit badges, make sure you look at the new requirements. If you go to the link that was shared on the Wabash Valley page, it will pull up with a list of all those merit badges. If you click on the link, it'll take you to that merit badge. You can look at the old requirements and you can look at the new requirements. So if you're teaching a merit badge or if you have a scout doing the merit badge, just make sure you look at the updated changes. And they're all available online. So youth protection, there's been some new changes that have rolled out with youth protection. So some of this is a recap of stuff that's been in the past. So the chartering organization rep has the end-all be-all of approving registration for adult leaders. So they're the final say when it comes to approving your adult leaders. So when you register, that comes with a background check, and you have to complete mandatory youth protection training. Everybody has to have YPT. And then when you sign the form, you consent to a screening through a database. You got to make sure that you have your current youth protection training when you're renewing your charter and your registration. And you got to follow all the youth protection policies. So there has to be 2 registered adult leaders over 21 at all scouting activities, including meetings. And as it says somewhere in this page, those have to be fee-requiring positions. So if you're chartered as a merit badge counselor, a lion leader, or a tiger leader, those positions do not qualify as a fee-requiring position, and they will not count towards your 2 required youth protection trained persons for a meeting. So basically, if you're having like a den meeting, you have to have 2 YPT trained individuals in a fee-paying position at that meeting, or that meeting cannot take place. Does that make sense? I believe that's one of the new changes that they're rolling out here.
Does everybody understand that one? That's kind of a tricky one.
So the lion and tiger are like, they're not necessarily the lion den leader, it's your lion adult partner.
Those do not qualify.
A den leader does that.
Correct. And assistant den leader, those are qualifying positions. So I believe those positions don't require you to pay a fee. So that's the change. You have to pay the fee for that position to count. So another change, all adults accompanying on a scouting unit activity that are going to be there for a total of 72 hours must be registered leaders. So again, they have to have a position. They have to be one of those position peoples, and that does not have to be consecutive. So if you're going somewhere for a week, all your people there, they're going to be there for more than 72 hours, have to hold a position somewhere. Doesn't necessarily have to be your unit because the district and council positions count. So another change, effective September 1st, 2 registered adult leaders 21 years of age or over are required at all scouting activities. Okay, that's what we talked about. There must be a registered female adult leader 21 years of age or over in every unit serving females. So if it's a girls troop, you have to have at least one over 21 female crew, over 21 female if you have females in your crew. Oh, can you go back to that? Yeah, sorry. I just overtalk myself. So there is one caveat to the above. Here. All adults staying overnight in connection to a scouting activity must be currently registered in adult fee requiring position, as listed as an adult program participant. Limited exception below for Cub Scout overnight programs. So what that means is if you're having an overnight activity, all your adults that spend the night have to be in one of those positions that we talked about before. So you can't have, like, merit badge counselor position does not count for that. But there's a caveat for Cub Scouts, and it's on the next slide.
So that means like your merit badge counselors for wilderness survival, where there's a requirement to stay overnight, cannot just stay overnight.
Unless
As a merit badge
they're
counselor,
already
unless
registered.
They're registered with a unit.
Correct.
Or in a registered position. They don't have to be registered with that
Right.
unit.
They have to be a paid registered position.
Correct.
How's that work with guests?
Correct.
If we got a troop outing and we got a father and son that want to come for an overnight to check out the troop?
The father could not stay because they're not.
That kind of puts a bad taste in his mouth, don't it, right off the bat?
Well, this is all based on safety.
I understand that. I
This is
understand.
all youth protection.
I understand
It's-
that, but I'm the one that's got to explain it.
Right.
I just
This
wanted
is-
to bring it up, that's all.
I understand, and it's all, scouting is going toward being as safe as we can be, and then this is one of those things. It's how we attain the safety.
Now, Jeff, your exception here is what he's getting ready to do when you have Cub Scout parents that are going around and checking out the troop. But if they're non-scouting, any adult that
That's why I
stays,
answered that way. But.
yeah, any adult that stays,
So it's not enough for them to take youth protection.
They have to be in a fee required position.
So our exception here is for Cub Scouts. So Cub Scouts parents or legal guardians taking part in an overnight Cub Scout program with their own child or legal ward are not required to register as adult leaders. All adults must review the How to Protect Your Children from Child Abuse, a Parent's Guide, that can be found in the front of each Cub Scout handbook. In addition, the parent or legal guardian must be accompanied by a registered leader at any time they are with youth members other than their own child ward. All other overnight adults must be currently registered in an adult fee required position. So your Cub Scouts, their parents can still come to your overnight activities. It's just when you get into Scouts BSA and venturing, you have to be in those fee-paying positions somewhere in the council.
Now, there's two ways you can look at that, We're always looking for more volunteers, and if the youth is gonna be involved, more likely the parents are gonna be involved too. So, that's how you, full disclosure, this HDMI cable's been wanting to flake out.
Does anybody have any questions about any of that?
These aren't our rules, this is PSA National.
I understand, but I want to look at both sides of the fence, that's all.
Yeah, this is national rules.
You're trying to recruit at the same time as you're cutting the trip. Anyway, that's I haven't been here for a while.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
So this is not a change, but one-on-one contact between adult leaders and youth is prohibited, both inside and outside of scouting. So if you're holding a personal conference, you got to make sure that that's in full view of other adult and youth, and or youth. It doesn't have to be in front of other youth, as long as you have other adults. Private online communication. So if you're sending texts, phone calls, emails, Skyping, any of that, you have to have another adult leader CC'd or on the call. That's not a change, but just make sure everybody knows that.
I got a question on that. So it's not enough to have the parent involved?
What do you mean?
And the call or whatever?
The call and text for that?
Yes.
It has to be another adult, not registered leaders, another adult.
Yeah, you can't directly chat with
No,
another.
you can have a parent. I got this straight from the
More
website.
narrow in the way you explained it.
I copy and pasted. So,
I think it's gonna be changing though, from what I've heard, because they want 2D leadership in everything, which is 2 registered D. So, that's the direction that they're heading.
but for now, you can have the parent.
Yeah, but in that aspect, there's nothing that's been rolled out, at least through the end of this year, that is that yet, so.
Same thing for communication on social media, Facebook, if any of you guys have Snapchat, etc. Must also have an adult leader or a parent. So discipline, it must be constructive, must adhere to the Scout values, no corporal punishment, nothing involving isolation, humiliation, or ridicule. Next slide, please. So this is for when it comes to lodging. You must have separate accommodations for males and female, for both adult males and females, and both adult youth males and adult youth females. So if you have like a crew, you have to have 4 different sets of lodging. Tenting, separate tenting arrangements must be provided for male and female adults as well as male and female youth. Youth sharing tents must be no more than 2 years apart in age. So that could be 2 years apart on either side. So if you have a scout that's 14, they can tent with somebody who's 12 and somebody that's 16. So you got 4 years, 2 on each side. In Cub Scouting, parents and guardians may share a tent with their family. In all other programs, youth and adults must be in separate tents. Yes.
What if you're married?
If you're married, you can tent together.
Spouses are allowed to get together.
See, it's right there. Spouses may share tents.
You can't read it, Jacob.
I know.
If you choose not to,
It's his
that's on
first
you.
PowerPoint.
When lodging in cabins, separate cabins should be provided for male and female adults as well as male and female youth. When separate accommodations cannot be provided due to group size or limited availability, modifications may be made. When completely separate accommodations are not available, additional supervision is required. If adults and youth of the same gender occupy single-room accommodations, there must be a minimum of 2 adults and 4 youth, with all adults being youth protection trained. So if you're in like a big cabin, you can share between adult and youth. Males have to be in one and females have to be in another, but you have to have at least 2 YPT trained youth. No, YPT trained adults and 4 youth. Physical separation by other means, including temporary barriers or space, should be used only when no other arrangements are possible. And like I said, these are modifications are limited to single-gender accommodations. Restrooms. Separate shower and latrine facilities should be provided for male and female adults as well as male and female youth. If separate facilities are not available, separate times should be scheduled and posted. So if you only have a male and a female, you have to block out times that your youth are going to shower and then your adults are going to shower. Adult leaders should closely monitor these areas, but only enter as needed for youth protection or health and safety reasons. So if somebody slips and falls and busts their head, you can go in the bathroom. Reporting. Adult leaders and youth members have a responsibility to recognize, respond to, and report youth protection violations and abuse. Youth protection policy violations. Serious youth protection policy violations or behaviors that put youth safety at risk must be reported to the Scout Executive. There is online reporting available. So mandatory reporting of child abuse. All persons participating in scouting programs are mandated to report child abuse. So if you see it, you got to report it.
Everybody understands that one, right? You cannot abdicate your duty to report child abuse. If you see it, you must report it. You cannot push that off on somebody else. That is an absolute no-no. You have to report it if you see it. You can't say, well, I don't have to do anything about it because Bob's in charge of the kids. If you see it, you have to report it. Everybody clear on that? Okay. That's a big thing.
Reports must be made to local law enforcement and child protective services. State law may require additional reporting. Cannot be delegated. Reporting to the Scout Executive or Scout First Helpline ensures that follow-up can occur for the safety of our youth. Scout Executives and Scout First coordinate follow-up actions. So there's a hotline you can call. It is 1-844-SCOUTS-1, and you can find that online. They can help you with immediate assistance in handling of sexual abuse allegation. You can contact them and they'll help you. If somebody's at immediate risk, call 911. Okay, so do lion and tiger meetings require too deep leadership? The answer is yes. Because both of those have to be, you have to have the two people that are position trained in a fee requiring position. So this means if only one of your leaders shows up and you only have two, you have to cancel the meeting because you don't have your two YPT trained persons in a fee requiring position. So here are those examples of those that don't qualify. Your merit badge counselor, your lion cub partner, and your tiger partner. Does anybody have any questions about the YPT stuff?
Did you address siblings? Siblings have to be within 2 years of each other to share a tent. That's an update as well.
All right, so another thing we're going to talk about is there's been some new updates to the Scouts BSA ranks. Kind of like the merit badges, most of them are just a little word changes. So, for example, for the Scout rank, they added, you have to list the 7 principles of Leave No Trace and explain the difference between Leave No Trace and the outdoor code. And this other Scout rank, it's talking about pocket knife safety, and it just added the word "and" responsibly. This, for another Scout rank, they changed it so you watch personal safety awareness videos with your parent or guardian. This one, it just, for tenderfoot, it changed, explain how you demonstrated. and added leave no trace when the requirement was just the outdoor code. Do you guys want me to go through all these, or? All this stuff is on the Wabash Valley Facebook page. Yeah. For Star, you now have to watch the personal safety awareness video as well. And then for Eagle, they just added that you have to have the citizenship in society. So your required merit badges your Eagle requireds went from 13 to 14. But you still only have to earn 21 merit badges total. Does anybody have any questions about the Scout rank changes? And again, those are all on the Wabash Valley page. Along with everything we talked about tonight, all the links can be found there.
I have a question about camping with my sister about siblings. Is that just if, like, say, I have two boys, they're like 3 years apart, so they couldn't go and camp together. I get that. But if we went in Cub Scouts as a family, can we all sleep in the same tent if our tent was big enough?
In
Scouts?
Cub Scouts, that exception does exist, yet family can't.
We were talking about this because I have a 3-year-old, 7, 8, and 14, and our tent, we all slept in the same tent.
Yes, as long as it's of the same family and you are at family camp.
So just so I'm clear on that, we have an annual family camp where we invite Scout families to come and camp with. Scouts would not be allowed to live with us.
Cub Scouts can't, correct?
True.
No,
So your troop families wouldn't even be allowed to camp
because
because they're not
So we can't have family camp anymore in West families.
correct.
There goes the favorite camp out for the year.
Only before September.
The youth protection guidelines are handed down by national.
So our next thing was, does anybody have anything they'd like to say about the adventure fee?
Any questions on that? I think pretty much everybody was here for when we discussed that earlier.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know this one too.
Are you?
I think it was tabled, wasn't it?
It
Yes.
is no more.
Huh?
It is no more. It's off the table.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Now, what we did say earlier is National is going to raise to right around the $100 area. We don't know where at the end of the year. But as far as adventure fee goes, nothing in 2023.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you for coming tonight.